Hello everyone, welcome back in my channel. I am Indojit here and I am going to explain a new topic of learning theory. So in previous class we have closed the all kinds of behavioristics theory, and now today we will discuss about the only cognitive theory of psychology. So at first we know about the cognitive theory of Gestalt psychology. So Gestalt theory of learning, today's topic. So let's start. So today at first we know the what is the Gestalt psychology. So let's explain. So at first we know that Gestalt is the theory of emphasis that the whole of the anything is greater than the parts. It is a whole things that is greater than the parts. And as well as we know that the Gestalt theory was is initial cognitive response to the behaviorism. And it is also emphasizes the importance of the sensory wholes and that it is the dynamic nature of visual and the perception. So lastly we know that Gestalt's meaning or Gestalt's means is a form or configurations. So now we know the insight given by the Gestalt to sudden grasping of a situations for a particular problematic situations, as well as the flash of the understanding which comes to us all and at sudden. And lastly, insight is that it is a sudden awareness or a perceptions of the essential relationship in a situation. It is a essential relationships of a situation. So know about the factors, which factors is influencing the insight. Some factors has inbuilt here, and those factors also influence the insightful learning. And those factors is the experience, next is the learning situation, and next is the intelligence, and next is the initial factor, and last is the repetition and generalization. So those 5 factors also influence the factors of the insightful learning. Next we know the Kohlberg or experiments. We know that this concept is given by the Kohler, Kafka and Wardaiman. This concept of insightful learning also given by the Kohler, Kafka and Wardaiman. So they are making a experiments on a chimpanzee is called chimp, and it is or apes. It's chimps or apes. So we know about the examination or experiments about the apes or chimps. So at first, so Kohler experience with the Sultan in the sim or the apes who was the cage with foot strategically placed outside the case, and as well as some boxes some boxes and sticks were placed in the case. So as well as some boxes and some sticks placed on the case. So there are some manipulations of these objectivities which got Sultan now where he seemed to suddenly figure out suddenly figure out that the sticks could be joined to get the food. The sticks was a broken, and since this sticks was the separately, so suddenly he played on this sticks and joined together. So and he also joined together and get the food. So he used the insight to solve the similar problems. So this is the experiment is given by the Kohler, Kafka and Wardaiman. And we know the another experiments where the bananas was hanging on the over the roof, and that times in some boxes also inblind in this in his case, and those times the sultans don't know what to do, and he also thinking about the bananas, and he also uh, tricks on his mind, and that times he collect the boxes, and one by one he put the boxes and making a ladder, and after that he take the bananas and satisfied his need. And those are the two types of those are the two types of experiments or examination given by the Kohler Kafka and Wertheimer. Next, now we know about the principles of Gestalt. So these principles also let us determine what we see and make the things or the situations. So these principles are, number one is the law of proximity. So what is the law of the proximity? It is the elements that are the closer together will be the perceived coherent object. Number two is the law of the similarity, is the elements that took a similar will be the perceived as a part of the same of the form. And next, thirdly, the law of closure. So law of closure, we state that the full of the gaps or the close or the figure we perceive. So this is the law of the closure. And next, four is the law of the good continuation. So good continuation is the individual have the tendency to continue whatever the elements of the pattern established in the implant directions. So this is the continuation. So we know last principles or law. So law of the figure or the ground. So we tend to the pay attentions and the perceive things in this foreground in the, and it is a stimulus will be the perceive the separate from in grounds. So those are the principles of given by the Gestalt psychologist. So we now disclose the educational implications of Gestalt psychology. So number one, the teacher should present the subject matter as a whole to the facilitate the insight learning. And number two is the use the bring fulfilling and the mechanical trail and error should be minimized. So lastly, teacher should motivate the child and by using the interest and curiosity on them. So in these sessions we have learned many things, and lastly we know about the difference between the trial and the error method, and as well as the insightful learning. What is the main difference? Number one, learning as a matter of the connections between the stimulus and the response, and as well as this side or also insightful side, also the learning is the organizations of the experience of the cognitive structure. So this is the stimulus response structure, and other side is the cognitive structure. So next is it is the recognize the practice of the basis of the learning. So trial and error method is the basis of the practice and error basis learning, and as well as the insightful learning also, it is the recognize the individual insightful of the basis of the learning, individual as the basis of the learning. And last, it is the trial and error method is fundamental. Trial and error method is totally is the fundamental, and insightful learning also is so much primary. So and lastly, we know the differences of the trial and error method and the insightful learning. The last difference is it is the emphasis. Trial or error method is emphasis on the trial or error or drill or reinforcement. So it is also the trial or error or drill or reinforcements, as well as the insightful learning focus on the emphasis the understanding the insight. So this is the whole theory given by the Kohler, Kafka, Wertheimer. And so next day we know about the another theory of the cognitive parts. So today I quit this session here. Next day we will come with a new topics of educational psychology. So take care and bye.